Hey guys, welcome to Mining Positivity with PJ. This is kind of a little intro before this video starts. This Monday Mind deals with some pretty heavy emotional kind of things. And so this is kind of just a disclaimer here. If you're having a super happy day and you're celebrating Valentine's Day with your loved ones, maybe watch this one tomorrow. So that was all. I also wanted to give a quick update about where the channel's going to be going this week and kind of in the future. We're getting very close to starting season 2 of Mining Positivity, so we'll be starting a new base and things like that in a new location. But also, we're going to be kicking off some things that are a bit different this week on the channel. We're going to start a new type of Let's Play series, which involves me not having a home and seeing how long I can just survive in the wild while using a texture pack. So it'll be like half texture pack review, half like just kind of survival stuff. And then the other thing is I am finally getting around to creating how-to videos and quick little tips and trick videos. So there won't be like a normal build or adventure episode this week as I'm getting out some of this other new content. So other than that, have a happy Valentine's Day. And do you see a skeleton horse in the background there? Where did that come from? Uh, okay, this intro is gonna run a bit long before we get to this next one, but why is there a skeleton horse up here? What what is happening? Hello, oh no. Oh no. No, 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 no. No, no, no. No. Oh, okay. Oh, you know what? When you watch this episode, this will make sense. Maybe. Yeah, I think I know why that happened, but we got a couple more skelly horses. So that's cool. I'll have to name them up and get them to the thing. But other than that, guys, I'm PJ. Enjoy today's Monday Mine. Again, just if you're having a super happy, fantastic day, maybe watch this one tomorrow. All right. Bye, guys. All right, guys, welcome to Mining Positivity with PJ, and we are right here in our little Valentine's area. Man, what this was so much fun. This was so much fun. All right, but moving on, we're all done with this now. It is the Monday Mind. If you're new here, let me stop for a second and just ask that you would like this video, subscribe, and if you enjoy it at the end, please leave a comment. That helps me out a ton. So appreciate that. And we're going to do what we do here on Mondays, which is we go mining and we talk about something positive. And today is not going to be any different. However, it might be a little bit uncomfortable, maybe. I've had a lot of friends recently, both at work and in my personal life and all kinds of things that have been experiencing loss. And so I think it might be a good time to talk about losing loved ones or losing something or someone that you really care for in life. And I promise that we won't get super dark and that we also will take a good look at like, what goes on in your life when things like that happen. So before we get into any of that, and I know that was a lot to even talk about right there, I went and did something I had talked about a few episodes back, which is I wanted to make each one of these lead to the particular level in 1.18 that is good for the different types of ores. The first one I did was diamond, and that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to go down to minus 58, which is the new best level to find diamond since 1.18. And so what I did was I just made a water tunnel down, or water tunnel up, and then water tunnel down. So we can come here, and we can get down to minus 58. One of the great things about these bubble tunnels is that you can breathe because the little air bubbles are giving you oxygen. So that's kind of cool. And you know what? I find that so annoying. There has to be a way for me to set this up, have that pull me down, but also not take damage. I wonder if I put a piece of carpet there, would it actually block the water? Might have to try that. So I went ahead, I dug out this little room here, I've got everything I need set up. I've got my in chest. I got like a little chest. And just digging up this little room, I found 2 diamonds like already in here that I put upstairs already. So yeah, I think we got everything we need. I was thinking maybe making a hallway like here and then starting the mines on each side. So I think for a moment here, I'm just going to strip this center part out. So let's talk about our positive sort of thoughts of the week here. So death, loss of loved ones, whether that be a family member or a friend or even a pet, is obviously devastating. It's one of those things in life that like we all kind of keep in the back of our head and know that eventually we have to deal with these types of things, but we also just try not to think about it because thinking about it can be super anxiety driven, super depressing, super discouraging, like those kinds of things. And yeah, it's just definitely one of those subjects that like people don't even like to talk about. I remember growing up, my mother was super, I shouldn't say was, it still is this way, but she's super almost said claustrophobic because I'm down here in this mine digging this out, but that's not the word. Superstitious, that's what I was going to say. She would not let you walk on the opposite side of a pole when she was walking in a pole. Okay, this level is really, really good for a diamond, apparently. But she wouldn't want you to walk on the opposite side of a pole from her because it can bring bad luck and things like that. And one of the things we definitely couldn't do was talk about anyone potentially dying. Because I guess the thought was that if you say something like that, it might actually happen, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, of course, like you just saying something is not going to cause something to happen. If that was true, geez, the amount of things we could do. Countries could overthrow countries just by saying it, or you know, we could all be filthy rich just by saying it or something like that. So we know that's not true. But it was just interesting to me growing up and being like, why are people so afraid to even talk about that? It really just was peculiar. And so as I grew up, I actually became somewhat fascinated with that concept of like, why don't people talk about this more? Why don't people discuss it, or why do they, even people that are not very superstitious, they also don't want to talk about death at all. They just want to avoid the topic. As I got older and relatives started to pass, I quickly realized why people don't want to talk about that thing. And it's because death is one of those things that is just super, super difficult to deal with. It challenges your own mortality. It challenges your own beliefs in life and existence. And it can be an all-consuming thing, especially when you lose someone that you're very, very close with. And so, yeah, I realized real quickly, like, okay, this is why people don't want to talk about this, is because it's a pretty dark subject matter. And so I'm going to share a little bit of a story that I personally dealt with. So my father passed away many years ago, and I had kind of made peace in my head that, you know, I wasn't going to let death affect me the way I have seen other people be affected by death, you know, and that when people that I'm close to pass, that I will accept it as a natural thing in life, and that will be that. And so the day came where I got the call that my father had passed away, and obviously I was very emotional. There were lots of tears and things like that. And kind of within that same day, I was like trying to talk to myself up and say like, okay, you know, he passed. This is horrible, but this is also a natural thing in life, and we're gonna deal with it. And I quickly realized through that experience that that's not something you can do. You can't just like say like, okay, you know, this is natural, this happens to everybody, and it's just something I've got to deal with. That is not healthy, and that is not the way that you're going to deal with death. It's a good way to avoid your emotions and cause emotional distress later down the road, but it's definitely not a healthy way to deal with the actual loss of a loved one. And so, through the loss of my father and through that experience, I came to a lot of realizations about myself and about feelings. And one of those things was that when a death happens, you need to take the time to grieve. You need to take the time to be angry. You need to take the time to be vulnerable. Take the time to be alone. Take the time to reach out to friends. Take the time that you need for whatever it is that you need. And so all of those things are not super positive things, and this is a channel about positivity. But there's nothing really positive about losing a loved one. There's nothing I could say that's positive about that because there isn't anything positive about it. What I can say, and one thing I have learned, is that there is this myth in life that unless something lasts forever, it wasn't real or had no value. And I've always had a real problem with this line of thinking because it, for one, is false and it doesn't apply to almost anything that we do in life. But for some reason, we apply it to relationships. And so that's particularly what I want to talk about. So I've heard people say things before like, oh, I dated so-and-so, and then 6 years later we broke up and, it was all a lie and none of it was real and what a waste of my life. But is that really, is that really true? Did did something happen that changed those moments that you spent with that person when that relationship ended? Probably not. Probably what's actually happening is that you've become really jaded and bitter against that person. And so the memories that you share with that person, you've allowed to become less than desirable, I guess, is the word we might go with. And so what we do is we just say, "Oh, well, I wish that had never happened." And then we create this false narrative that unless something lasts forever, it has no value. Death has a way of challenging that very notion. Because we would never say when we lose a loved one that, you know what, that person really wasn't my beloved relative because they didn't live forever. We don't say things like that because it's not true. And so one of the things when we go through a time of loss, first of all, I'm not going to offer any advice on how to deal with grieving because everyone grieves differently and everybody needs different things when they go through a grieving process. Sometimes that's to be alone, sometimes that's to be surrounded by friends, sometimes that's to eat, sometimes that's to abstain from food. It's all over the place, and you need to, deal with that in the way that makes sense to you. And if you get yourself in a situation where you need help that's beyond support from family and friends, please reach out to, a therapist or a trusted loved one who can help you find what you need to deal with those emotions. But so that's not my point. My point is not to offer any kind of, you know, options on how to deal with grief. What my point actually is that during those times of loss, we can focus on the fact that whatever time we had with that person was beautiful. It changed us. It helped create the person we are. When we lose loved ones, family members, friends, pets, those people, those relationships, let me say relationships, because I truly believe that relationships are the meaning of life. People are like, oh, what's the meaning of life? Why are we here? It's relationships, because nothing else really has any long-lasting value. Nothing else really impacts us the way relationships do. They do all these studies about money. Like, unless you're absolutely stuck in poverty to the point where you're living in the streets, when you get a certain amount of money where you can, get by and pay your bills and have a little bit of luxuries, any other money beyond that never increases your level of happiness. Because all you want is more stuff and more money and more this or that. But relationships are not like that. Relationships fill us up. They make us whole. They make us have happy moments and sad moments and give us the human experience. So relationships are the most important thing we have. And so when we lose something or someone we love, we can think about them fondly in the way that after the grieving process, but we can think about them and remember the value that they have that is basically eternal in our life because long after they're gone, they still have changed who we are, changed the way we view things, changed the way we think about things, created lifelong memories that will last with us until our last day. And as we are changed by their influence and relationship in our life, so we change and we change others around us. And so it starts this daisy chain effect where their legacy lives on through us because we're different people because of the relationships that we had with them. And those around us become affected by the loved ones that we've lost or that are still with us even, and during those times. So this conversation I wanted to have was definitely not one of here are some steps you can take to be happier in life. It's definitely not that. But I do want to challenge you to not get caught in the trap of unless things last forever, they have no value. That's just not true. It's just a lie. I've always seen right through that lie my whole life. And if you believe that, you'll wind up getting yourself into situations that are very, very dark and depressing and hard to get out of. Stepping away from the realm of death and just talking about relationships in general coming to an end. This specifically would be romantic, being that Valentine's Day is today. I just realized this is releasing on Monday. You know what? Maybe I'll hold off a week and release this the following week. Or maybe not. But speaking of relationships coming to an end and things like that, don't let your heart become so closed off to the relationship that you experienced that ended, because relationships end because people are different. They have different beliefs, they have different goals, they have different morals, they have different outlooks and all that stuff. When those things collide at a level that's severe, relationships end. That does not mean that the things you experienced with a particular person had no value. They definitely had value. Even if the value was, I know now the type of person I don't want to be with, that's tremendous value. That's a huge lesson and something to be even thankful for. Like, hey, that really opened my eyes to watching out for this type of characteristic because it doesn't mesh well with me. And so I guess that was kind of the whole point of all of this, is that when there is something removed in our life, particularly relationship, and however that's removed, to be challenged to look at that and realize that the pain that we feel is real, and the pain that we feel is real, and we will have to deal with that, but also the good times that we had with that relationship and the growth that we experienced is also just as real. And this thunderstorm is very strange to be down here talking about this kind of ominous conversation, and that's going on. Probably should throw a bed down here because I could take care of that really quick. Let me do that real fast. Okay. And so, in closing here, I just want to say, for one, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for giving me a little bit of time to talk about something positive, because ultimately there is something positive that we're talking about here today, and that positive thing is the value of life and relationship. There is tremendous value in that, and not even death itself can take that away from us. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Obviously, this level is fantastic for finding diamond. Yeah, just as I've been going through this, it's been like a lot of wow moments that I've kind of just kept to myself so we could get through the positive thought of the day. But wow, there's a lot. I mean, like 21? That's nuts. So yeah, level minus 58 is definitely the new level to find your diamonds. And I'm going to close this out here. So let me run myself back out. And I do want to say something really quick. And I'm really sorry if you you came to this episode today and it's Valentine's Day and you're happy. And be happy. That the point of this was not to be depressing or down or anything like that. Definitely be happy in the fact of celebrating the people you have with you and that are around you now. And if you are going through a season of loss, like so many of my friends are right now, my coworkers and family members, and it's just been hard times. Just know that you're not alone as you go through these times. And also, too, the value of the person you lost, the relationship you lost, it's eternal. It will be with you forever. Guys, I'm PJ. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you on the next episode of Mining Positivity. Bye, guys.